Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 48. The rest of our delivery to Seekamp was pretty uneventful, so now we're headed back south towards the familiar triumvirate of Weedmark, Firthwacht, and Groenenfest. But on the way there, we spied a few points of interest. Most notably Rotok's Grub, another Goblin outpost. This particular Goblin outpost is stocked to the gills with Goblin ambushers, skirmishers, and another Overseer. We'll be taking them on in just a moment, but first let's take a quick look at the men. First of all, it's worth noting that at his own request, Rondus the Elk Lord is the new bearer of the cursed Crystal Skull. It caps his maximum mood, but he'll have an easier time terrifying his foes in combat. And that of course means that we handed down the Orc Trophy to Janos, who's tired of having to replace dogs anyway. Hopefully, those special items should give both of our dedicated heavy weapon wielders a bit more of an edge in battle. Okay, well, right off the bat, we've only got 3 ambushers to deal with. Having range superiority is a big advantage for us. I also can't help but notice that at least half of these Goblin skirmishers aren't wielding shields. And considering we have range superiority, that's another big advantage for us. Of course, we don't want to get too confident. We do have the Goblin Overseer lurking back here in the fog of war somewhere. He's easily the biggest threat on the battlefield right now, so we'll have to take him out as soon as we get the chance. Our archers are up, so let's start picking off these skirmishers. Alessandro just doled out a piercing chest wound. Fox sinks an arrow through a Goblin skirmisher's leg, then quickly ends his life. Bunny eyes the Goblin with an arrow sticking out of its chest, then drops it with another shot as well, before blindly firing an arrow into the Goblin ranks. There's the Goblin Overseer whipping his followers as usual. Okay. Even though there's only 3 ambushers on the field, we'll go ahead and set everyone on shield wall. We've seen how much damage those poisoned arrows can do. And of course, we will be holding position. Since we have range superiority, there's no reason to rush these guys. Especially since we know the Overseer is out of crossbow range right now. The Goblin ambushers are eagerly rushing out from behind cover. That's definitely a And there's a poisoned arrow on Wojtek. That guy just can't seem to catch a break when we're up against goblins. Well, it looks like our archers are up, so let's see if we can return the favor. Alessandro takes aim at one of the... Actually, he'll take down this skirmisher first. There we go. And then he fires another shot into the Goblin ranks. Unfortunately, Wojtek can't actually take a shot because he's poisoned, so... I'd like to pull him back, but I think he's actually safer behind our shieldmen right now. And from the sound of it, the Goblin Overseer might be getting a little overzealous with that whip of his. Let's go ahead and take a shot at this ambusher. There we go. Bunny drops an ambusher in one shot. Fox doesn't have a clean shot at the other ambusher, so he'll just pick off a shot at one of the skirmishers. But no luck there. The rest of our men will get their shields ready. And we'll probably be passing the rest of the turn. Yeah, I am tempted to start moving some of our guys up just to start rousting the rest of the goblins. But I think it might be a bit too early for that. Round 3. Come on. Well, Wojtek just took another poisoned arrow, so we definitely need to pull him back at this point. Despite being shot twice, he's actually taken a surprisingly small amount of damage. It's really just that poison that's messing him up. Oh, and here comes the Overseer. That crossbow of his could theoretically kill almost any one of our men in a single shot, so he is immediately our priority target. Though Wojtek will have to shoot at something a little closer. Alright, Bunny, it's up to you. Okay. Well, that certainly could have gone better. Alright, I think it may be time to go ahead and start rushing some of our frontliners up. Oops. Alright, Roderick got pinned down by a skirmisher, but he immediately plunges his dagger into its chest. Igot moves up to join the fray against the skirmisher. He readies his great axe, but can't land the hit. Kasserin moves up to engage another skirmisher, trimming off half his armor. Reinhard steps forward, attacking another skirmisher. And Rondus moves up as well. He kills the first skirmisher that gets in his way, then moves up to engage another. Janos will move up as well, joining Reinhard, and plunging his dagger into a goblin's knee. The remaining skirmishers desperately hurl a net over Rondus's head. That's mildly inconvenient. And don't worry, we're not leaving our archers unprotected. With the front line out of the way, our pikemen will leap forward, readying their shields and acting as our secondary line of defense. And we're at the bottom of the round, so let's hop Roderick up here next to Rondus and moving into round 4. Looks like the ambushers are indeed taking potshots at our backup shield wall. And the skirmishers are moving up to engage as well. Or maybe they're... Oh, I see what they're doing. They just created a defensive... Oh! Okay. Well, that tore right through Roderick's defenses, and now he's got a pierced arm muscle. I'll have to wait for his turn to come up, but I believe that reduces all of his weapon skills. The Overseer is pretty entrenched at this point, so let's see if we can pick off these ambushers instead. No luck there. Now Wojtek is up. He's still poisoned, but that doesn't stop him from putting an arrow through a goblin's eye. Bunny takes aim at an ambusher and drops it with a single arrow. I think that's actually... And she takes down a skirmisher in one shot as well. If only the rest of our men could kill them that efficiently. Fox takes aim at the last remaining ambusher, but misses the shot. Vlad and Henry will hold their positions, continuing to guard our archers. Igotnis brandishes his great axe, rushing forward to engage the goblin line. He has just enough action points for a quick dagger swipe, but he can't land it. Roderick tears off his net. And then... I should probably pull him back, but I think we'll carefully move him forward instead. We'll bring him around Igot to engage a single goblin skirmisher. Kasserin takes down the skirmisher blocking his path, then moves up to join his brothers on the front line. Reinhard loses his whole turn, struggling with a net. And Janos cuts down the goblin in front of him as well, before moving up to engage the final ambusher. Rondus throws off his net, moves up and takes a quick jab with his dagger. And moving into round 5. The ambusher bolts. The goblin skirmishers maintain their defensive position around the Overseer and toss out a few feeble attacks. Oof. And the Overseer takes a shot at Roderick, but fortunately it misses. Now our archers will just start taking pot shots at the Overseer. We're only hitting his guard so far. We just took off an ear, and I think Wojtek put an arrow through a goblin's knee. Unfortunately, it looks like we didn't land any hits on the actual Overseer. But our frontliners should be able to reach him this turn. There we go. Igot hacks down one of the skirmishers, moves up to engage the Overseer. Roderick moves up beside Igot. and takes down another skirmisher with his dagger. And then he'll hem in the Overseer as well. That's definitely a risky move, but the Goblin Overseer can't reload his spiked impaler as long as someone's adjacent to him, and he does a lot less damage with his notched blade. Rondus lashes out with his greatsword, landing our first hit on the Goblin Overseer and taking off his ear. Reinhard finally frees himself from that goblin net and starts moving up to join the rest of the company. Vlad and Henry hold position. And round 6. The ambusher is long gone at this point. We're definitely not going to try to chase him down. Our archers pick off a couple of carefully placed shots into the small group of remaining goblins. Alessandro takes one of the skirmishers down. Ooh, and Roderick does indeed draw a few more attacks, but nothing that gets through his armor. At this point, our archers no longer have a clear line of sight, so they're going to have to start moving up if they want to continue contributing. Kazarin moves in to flank the Goblin Overseer. Knocks him onto death's doorstep. And Roderick is up. I guess it's only fair that he gets a chance for some payback, and he quickly takes advantage of it, dropping the Overseer with his dagger. That leaves us with just one skirmisher on the field, and that fleeing ambusher, and I makes short work of the remaining skirmisher. We'll make a token effort to pursue the ambusher, but I suspect that once we get to the bottom of the round, it'll give us the option to end the battle, and we'll probably take it. And there it is. Yep, it's over. It looks like we didn't get any level ups, but at least we got some decent experience gain. Bunny gets MVP with 4 kills, and Roderick is saddled with that arm injury for a few days. Sadly, we didn't get any unique items, but we did get a few trading goods. We'll be right back after I finish poking through the rest of the loot. While taking inventory last night, Eraton the Merciless had a little too much to drink and ended up losing a bundle of spiked bolas. You've had him brought to you, and the man, swaying on his feet, still reeks of alcohol. He hiccups as he tries to explain himself, but the best he can do is collapse to the ground in a drunken heap. The man laughs and laughs, but you see nothing funny about this. Rowan Church asks what you want to do with him. Well, at a glance, this is a negative event. It costs us a small amount of loot, in this case some spiked bolas. But it's an event that also presents us with an interesting opportunity. If we punish Eraton, there's actually a chance he'll stop being a drunkard, which would drastically improve some of his combat abilities. We're going to pick the harshest punishment, which is practically guaranteed to work, but he's not going to be very happy about it. The man was driven to the drink, so you plan to drive it out of him. You order a flogging. A few battle brothers drag the drunk away. He is hiccuping and moaning, his head bouncing a lull as he seems unaware of what is going on. They string him up beneath a tree and shred the clothes off his back. After a few lashings, the drunkard wakes up to his punishment and begins crying out uncontrollably. He begs for mercy in a tongue blurred by drink and pain, like a man fighting for freedom from a nightmare. One thing is for certain. He'll never make this mistake again. Well, that saddles Eraton with a light injury, but he lost the drunkard trait, and now he's angry. Having Eraton flogged has essentially destroyed his morale. We can theoretically build his morale back up, but until we do, he'll be suffering significant penalties in combat, and there's a chance that he might actually end up deserting the company if we can't improve his mood somehow. Ironically, the easiest way to start improving his mood is to continue on to Groninfest so we can buy another round of drinks for the men. But we can also improve his mood by winning fights or by triggering certain special events. We'll continue heading towards Groninfest for now, and hopefully we can find something to improve Eraton's mood before he decides to do anything too drastic. Welcome back. There wasn't much to see in Groninfest, so we continued along the road to Weedmark, where there appears to be a small assortment of low-challenge contracts. We've managed to improve Eraton's mood at least a bit. He's still disgruntled, but at least he's not angry anymore. That means that while he still gets penalties in combat, we've at least convinced him not to desert the company. Weedmark also has a temple, which means we have a chance to properly treat Roderick's arm injury. It'll cost us a couple hundred coins, but it removes the chance of the wound becoming infected and speeds up his recovery time. Now let's check out this noble contract. A man, seemingly stepping out of the shadows of Count Gotthard von Rabenholt's room, comes toward you with his hand jetted forth. You shake it and he introduces himself. I'm Leinhard in the employ of Count Gotthard von Rabenholt. Here, Count Gotthard von Rabenholt steps in. I need you to guard this man to Holschlag. That's House Rosenving territory, obviously, so some secrecy is necessary here. That's where you step in. You just need to make sure this man gets there. After that, bring him back and you'll get paid. Does that suit your field of work and expertise? Well, this is essentially the noble equivalent of a delivery contract. And I'm not really crazy about doing any more of those. But it's also the only noble contract currently available, at least if we want to work for the Rabenholt clan. We've already got a pretty high reputation with them, so I guess we'll have to do at least a little bit of scut work if we want to ever form an alliance. We'll go ahead and take the contract, even though it only pays a trivial amount of coin. And we'll try to finish this as quickly as possible. It looks like we've got a bit of a walk ahead of us before we reach Holschlag, so let's skip forward until something interesting happens. And we're back again. We're almost to Holschlag, but on the way there we spotted a group of 14 Nachtzehrer. While these things aren't particularly exciting to fight, and they drop pretty terrible loot, they're also good for some pretty quick and easy experience points. So I figured we'd knock them out and then we'd finish up this escort mission. Well, let's see what we're dealing with here. So far we can only see 5 young Nachtzehrer, 6 now. If it's nothing but young Nachtzehrer, this fight should be over in just a couple of minutes. These things are incredibly fragile and easy to take down. It's only if you let them start devouring corpses that they really become dangerous. We've got a couple of medium Nachtzehrer there in the back. They're a little tougher and a little more dangerous in close combat, but they're still not anything to really worry about, especially if you can take them down with sustained arrow fire before they can reach your front line. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and start wounding these guys. But we don't actually want to kill them until they're closer. That way we can discourage them from trying to eat the corpses of their fallen. We've also got Leinhard here. We'll put him in the bushes. And we've got 2 large Nachtzehrer incoming. Those are a bit more dangerous. I think we fought some of those things before, but they can soak up a lot of damage, and they're a lot more dangerous in close combat, mainly because they can immediately neutralize one of your men by swallowing them whole. If you can't get your man free in time, then they may end up being digested alive, which is about the worst way you can go in a game that's all about watching your men die in horrible ways. Okay, everyone else is going to hold position. We've got our spear wall set. So let's go ahead and push into round 2. The Nachtzehrer are continuing their slow and steady advance. We've already got 1 engaged on our front line. 2 now. Looks like Eraton and Bellefontaine didn't do a very good job of warding them off there. But at least Chiron and Reinhardt are more likely to keep them off our flanks. Nice. Reinhardt gets our first kill, impaling a Nachtzehrer that throws itself on his spear. And our archers are up. Wojtek fires through the line, dropping another Nachtzehrer. Alessandro drops the wounded Nachtzehrer, then puts an arrow in a medium Nachtzehren's chest. Potato takes aim and puts an arrow into a Nachtzehren's leg, then puts a second arrow through another Nachtzehren's chest. Mark fires through the ranks, putting an arrow through a Nachtzehren's shoulder. Rowan takes aim, and still can't land a hit. Belfontaine takes a quick jab with his spear, dropping another Noxerer, and that gives the rest of the men the chance to reset their spear wall. Now everyone will just hold their position, and pushing into round 3. The Noxerer make another suicidal charge into our spears. Though now they seem to be having some second thoughts. It looks like a few of them are falling back. Though, at least a few of them don't seem to be sharing that sense of self-preservation. I'd almost say they're trying to get into some sort of formation, but I can't really see how it would benefit them. Well, whatever, we'll just start firing into the mob. Woztek puts an arrow through a Noxerer's chest, then kills it with a second shot before crippling a second Noxerer. Potato drops the wounded Noxerer. Alessandro follows up by killing a third, and a fourth. Mark drops a fifth Noxerer, and puts an arrow through the... Oh, well, then he kills number 6. At this point, we've killed over 2/3 of the Noxerer, so I think it's about time to start moving up our frontliners to discourage them from eating any of these corpses. We'll just create a battle line blocking them from the bodies, and we'll take a few quick attacks if we have enough action points for them. But the important thing here is just to make sure that these guys don't start powering themselves up. There we go. That should be more than enough to keep them at bay. And moving into round 4. The Noxerer get a chance to... Ooh. Okay, well, it looks like Rondis gets the dubious honor of being the first battle brother to ever be swallowed whole. I'm not really worried about that too much. We should be able to kill this thing pretty easily, and once we do, Rondis will be freed. It also looks like our archers are doing a pretty good job of whittling down the other large Noxerer. We should actually be able to finish it off this turn. Let's move Rowan over onto elevated terrain to maximize his chances of hitting. And there we go. I knew he'd land a hit once it really mattered. Eraton is up, so he takes down a wounded Noxerer, then starts focusing on freeing Rondis. Reinhard leaps the line, taking up elevated position next to the large Noxerer. Janos cuts down the last of the medium Noxerer. Kasserin moves into a flanking position, thrusting his spear into the large Noxerer. And I think that's pretty much everything for the round, so moving into round 5. The large Noxerer does some serious damage to Eraton's shield. Woe lashes at the thing with his pike. Rowan reloads and, well, he can't move up just yet, but we'll move him up next round if we need to. Mark Richards moves up, fires through the ranks. Eraton continues stabbing at this thing. And Kasserin finally carves the Noxerer open, freeing Rondis the Elk Lord, who's probably a bit put off by this whole situation. It looks like no level ups, and Alessandro gets MVP with 3 Noxerer kills. And the loot is just about as meager as we knew it was going to be. With a successful battle under our belt, Eraton's mood should have improved a bit. Yeah, he's up to 30% now. Normally I'd rotate him out after a battle, but we'll keep him on the line for now, just so we can accelerate his mood gain. Let's skip forward to Holschlag real quick. The envoy dips into a council building in Holschlag. You got him there safely, now it's just time for him to do the rest. For a time you listen to the talk, leaning against one of the windows and soaking it in. The man's got a quick tongue and he's rallying the men to his cause better than you and a few swords ever could. The envoy sees you through the window and suddenly waves you off. You duck away and wait for him to finish. Okay, I guess we just need to kill time now. I actually forgot about this part of the mission. Let's go ahead and set up camp, and I guess we'll wait till morning. I'm not sure if it actually lets us know when he's done, or if we just have to walk back over there at a certain point. Okay, we've waited half a day now, so let's go ahead and break camp and we'll head back into town. When the envoy returns, he says it was a good talk and that you need to get him back to Count Gotthard von Rabenholt as soon as possible. Alright, well, we'll pick up there next time as we collect our pay and hopefully finally forge an alliance with House Rabenholt. I'll see you then. Hey, RetconRaider here. Well, there were at least a few highlights in today's session. We took down our second Goblin Overseer, cured Eraton of his debilitating alcoholism, and saw one of our brothers get swallowed alive. All in all, it was a pretty exciting day. More importantly, we're coming closer and closer to forging an alliance with House Rabenholt, as well as with the towns of Weedmark and Gronenfest. We'll really be able to take advantage of that once we've built up enough coin to go on another shopping spree. In retrospect, I realized that I actually got a bit careless with Roderick during our fight against the Goblin Overseer. I probably should have had him fall back after he took that arm injury, but instead I moved him up right into the line of fire. Things did end up working out in the end, but I still need to be more careful in the future. I know we're going to end up losing someone sooner or later. It's inevitable in a game like Battle Brothers, but I'd still prefer to avoid it for as long as possible. At any rate, next time we'll be returning to Weedmark to complete our contract and collect our pay. If we're lucky, we'll finally be able to complete our current ambition as well. If we don't, we'll just keep taking contracts in and around Weedmark until we do. We could really use the gold anyway. But for now, this is RetconRaider, signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Battle Brothers, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website or the fan-run wiki. Links are in the description.